Trevino finally spoke up. The man who once told Augusta National Chairman Cliff Roberts, "You're gutless," has broken his silence. At 81 years old, Trevino has come clean about the long-standing rumors. He admits the real reason he boycotted the Masters wasn't just about the course. It was a heated feud with the man who ran Augusta National with an iron fist. What did this choice cost him? Why did he wait so long to tell the truth? And what else has he hidden all these years? The answers might shock you. Lee Trevino was born poor. His mother and grandfather raised him in Texas. He never knew his father. At just 14 years old, he left school to work. He started as a caddy and taught himself how to swing a golf club. No fancy coaches or country clubs for Trevino. Still, he became one of the best ever. He won 92 times around the world. He claimed 6 major championships. The Hall of Fame welcomed him in 1981. His self-taught swing looked odd but worked like magic. Trevino quickly rose to become Jack Nicklaus's biggest rival. He won the U.S. Open twice, in 1968 and 1971. He grabbed the British Open Championship in back-to-back years, 1971 and 1972. He claimed the PGA Championship twice, too, in 1974 and 1984. What makes this more impressive? He beat Jack Nicklaus in 4 of those 6 major wins. When Trevino was at his best, he could take down the greatest golfer who ever lived. But there's one major tournament missing from his trophy case, the Masters. And now we know it wasn't just bad luck. Trevino chose not to play at Augusta National in 1970, 1971, and 1974. These weren't just any years. These were prime years when Trevino was one of the best players in the world. For decades, he told people he skipped the Masters because he didn't like the course. "It's just not my type of course," he claimed in 1969. But that was never the whole story. The real reason, a bitter feud with Clifford Roberts, the co-founder and chairman of Augusta National. Roberts ran the Masters like a dictator for 45 years. He made strict rules. He created an atmosphere where everyone walked on eggshells. Trevino, with his free spirit and jokes, hated this. "He and I did not see eye to eye, and we couldn't stand each other," Trevino finally admitted. The breaking point? A fight about tickets. They argued in Roberts' office. The talk got heated. Words were exchanged. Trevino told Roberts off and stormed out. But the conflict went deeper than just a ticket issue. Trevino, a Mexican-American who rose from poverty, felt like an outsider at Augusta. The club had a reputation back then as a place for rich white men. Trevino reportedly changed his shoes in the parking lot rather than use the clubhouse more than needed. It was his quiet protest against what he saw as an exclusive club that didn't welcome people like him. This choice to boycott the Masters came with a huge price tag. It cost Trevino his only shot at golf's career Grand Slam. Only 5 players have ever won all 4 majors. Trevino could have been the 6th if he hadn't let his temper get the best of him. When he finally returned to Augusta, things were never the same. His best finish was only tied for 10th place. The magic that helped him win 6 other majors never showed up at the Masters. Some think his reputation at the club never recovered from his fight with Roberts. Years later, Trevino looked back with regret. "It was my fault. I never should have lost my cool." He blamed his short temper and his habit of talking too much instead of listening. He now calls Augusta a great venue with tremendous history. But the damage was done. His chance at golf immortality slipped away because of a fight he now wishes he hadn't started. While his professional goals suffered, Trevino's bank account did just fine. He built a fortune worth around $50 million. He made money from tournaments, especially later in his career on the senior tour. He became the first senior player to earn over $1 million in one season. That was more than Greg Norman, the PGA Tour's top money winner that same year. Trevino also made big bucks from endorsement deals with companies like Titleist, Nike, and Miller Brewing Company. His quick wit and charm made him popular with fans and sponsors alike. He earned huge fees for speaking at events too. But even financial success came with a price. Trevino once joked, "You can make a lot of money in this game. Just ask my ex-wives. Both of them are so rich that neither of their husbands work." His humor often masked the strain in his personal life. Despite the Masters setback, Trevino had many incredible moments in golf. His greatest achievement came in the summer of 1971. In just 20 days, he won 3 major national championships in a row: the US Open, Canadian Open, and British Open. This became known as the Trevino Triple. No one had ever done it before. Only Tiger Woods has matched it since. The US Open win that year was special. Trevino faced Jack Nicklaus in an 18-hole playoff. Before they teed off, Trevino pulled a rubber snake from his bag and tossed it at Nicklaus as a joke. He then beat the greatest golfer in the world by shooting a brilliant 68 to Nicklaus's 71. The next year, Trevino defended his British Open title at Muirfield in Scotland. The key moment came on the 17th hole of the final round. After hitting a bad tee shot, Trevino faced a tough chip shot. He holed it. This miracle shot rattled his playing partner Tony Jacklin so badly that Jacklin 3-putted the green. Trevino won by 1 stroke over Nicklaus. After the chip-in, Trevino boldly declared, "I'm the greatest chipper in the world." These moments show why fans loved him. Trevino wasn't just good, he was exciting and different. He didn't look or act like other golfers. His personality was as unique as his swing. Trevino became known as the Merry Mex and Super Mex because of his non-stop jokes and stories. He was the most quotable golfer ever. Here are some of his classic lines. "You don't know what pressure is until you've played for $5 a hole with only 2 in your pocket. If you are caught on a golf course during a storm and are afraid of lightning, hold up a 1-iron. Not even God can hit a 1-iron. You can talk to a fade, but a hook won't listen. My swing is so bad I look like a caveman killing his lunch. I played the tour in 1967 and told jokes and nobody laughed. Then I won the Open the next year, told the same jokes, and everybody laughed like hell." These jokes made him popular with fans who followed him in groups called Lee's Fleas. But his humor may have hidden something deeper. It might have been his way of dealing with pressure or feeling like an outsider in the sometimes stuffy world of golf. Before his tour career, Trevino played with a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper bottle instead of golf clubs to give other players a chance. He claimed he never lost a match playing this way for 3 years. He prepared for tournaments in odd ways too, like running between shots while someone followed in a cart. Beyond golf, Trevino showed a good heart. He created scholarships for Mexican Americans. He supported St. Jude Children's Hospital and once donated $500,000 from a hole-in-one prize. But his complicated relationship with Augusta National remains the one stain on an otherwise brilliant career. Looking back now, Trevino was a trailblazer. He proved you didn't need country club lessons or perfect form to become great. His self-taught, unorthodox swing worked just fine. He showed that Hispanic players could reach the top of a sport that wasn't always welcoming to outsiders. But his greatness came with one big what if. What if he hadn't let his pride and temper get the best of him? What if he had swallowed his anger and played the Masters during his prime years? Would he have won and joined the exclusive club of Grand Slam champions? We'll never know. Trevino finally admitted his fault, not to the media, but to himself. He acknowledged that if he had just kept his temper in check, maybe golf would remember him differently. A giant of golf without question, but not an untarnished one. His greatness came at a price, sometimes paid in pride rather than trophies. What do you think? Should Trevino have let it go sooner? Did Augusta National owe him more respect from the start? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Tom Watson, one of the most beloved legends in golf, saw both greatness and torment as his career came to a close. After years of success, admiration, and unforgettable moments on the course, the game that had given him so much seemed to turn against him. It was almost as if he was being tested in the harshest way possible, facing challenges that felt unfair for someone who had given so much to the sport. Watson's legacy in golf is one of greatness, but it's also marked by moments of deep controversy, personal conviction, and challenges that tested him both on and off the course. In 1990, he made headlines not just for his achievements in golf, but for a bold stand against discrimination. He resigned from the Kansas City Country Club after the club rejected a membership applicant solely because he was Jewish. Watson, whose wife at the time was Jewish, felt that this decision was not just wrong, it was personal. If someone of his family's background wasn't welcome, then he didn't want to be part of it either. His resignation wasn't quiet. It was public, controversial, and sent shockwaves through the golf community. It was a moment that showed Watson wasn't just a champion on the course. He was willing to take a stand when it mattered. But controversy followed him in other ways as well. In the 1983 Skins game, an exhibition event featuring some of the biggest names in golf, Watson confronted Gary Player over what he believed was a potential rules violation. In a sport that prides itself on honesty and integrity, calling out another legend like Player was no small matter. The incident sparked heated discussions in the golfing world and added another layer to Watson's reputation, not just as a fierce competitor, but as someone who believed in upholding the spirit of the game, no matter who was involved. Years later, Watson found himself at the center of yet another storm, this time as the captain of the 2014 U.S. Ryder Cup team. The Ryder Cup is one of the most prestigious and pressure-filled events in golf, and leading the American team is both an honor and a challenge. But Watson's leadership style didn't sit well with many of the modern PGA Tour players. He was seen as out of touch, a man from a different era trying to lead a team that had changed in ways he may not have fully understood. The criticism came to a head after the U.S. team suffered a disappointing loss, and Phil Mickelson, one of the team's biggest stars, publicly called out Watson's decisions as captain. The fallout led to a heated debate over whether Watson's old-school approach was still effective in a changing game. But through it all, through the controversies, the criticisms, and the challenges, Watson remained one of golf's all-time greats. His battles with Jack Nicklaus in the late 1970s and early 1980s were legendary, producing some of the most unforgettable moments in the sport's history. Their duels, especially in major championships, weren't just competitions. They were masterpieces of skill, strategy, and sportsmanship that captivated fans around the world. And then there were the victories, 8 major championships, including 5 Open championships, 2 Masters titles, and 1 U.S. Open. His dominance on links courses, particularly in the Open Championship, became the stuff of legend. Few players in history have ever controlled the unpredictable, windswept fairways of links golf the way Watson did. And his brilliance didn't stop there. His career was filled with extraordinary moments that defined him as one of the greatest golfers of all time. Watson joined the PGA Tour in 1971, ready to make his mark. Just 2 years later, in 1973, he found a key figure in his career, his caddy, Bruce Edwards. They teamed up at the St. Louis tournament at Norwood Hills Country Club and immediately clicked. Edwards would go on to carry Watson's bag for most of his career. Becoming more than just a caddy, he was a trusted friend. Watson first made a serious run at a major championship at the 1974 U.S. Open at Winged Foot. He held the 54-hole lead, but things fell apart in the final round. It was a crushing loss, but something important came from it. Byron Nelson, the legendary golfer turned broadcaster, approached him in the locker room. Nelson liked Watson's aggressive style and offered to help him refine his game. Watson was honored, but didn't take him up on the offer right away. A few months later, while playing in the Byron Nelson Classic in Dallas, he finally visited Nelson's home. That meeting turned into a lifelong friendship and mentorship, much like Nelson's earlier relationship with Ken Venturi in the 1950s. Just 2 weeks after his disappointment at Winged Foot, Watson bounced back with his first PGA Tour victory at the Western Open. He stormed back from 6 shots behind in the final round at Butler National, proving he had the mental toughness to win. Under Nelson's guidance, Watson fine-tuned his swing and course management, and in 1975, he won his first major at the Open Championship in his very first appearance. He made a clutch 20-foot birdie putt on the 72nd hole to force a playoff with Jack Newton at Carnoustie. The next day, Watson edged out Newton by a single stroke, thanks in part to an incredible chip-in eagle at the 14th hole. His win put him in elite company. Only Ben Hogan, Tony Lema, and Ben Curtis had won the Open Championship on their first try. In 1977, Watson's rivalry with Jack Nicklaus took center stage. First at the Masters, he went toe-to-toe with Nicklaus in the final round. Tied at the 17th hole, Watson sank a 20-foot birdie putt to pull ahead, then sealed his first green jacket after Nicklaus bogeyed the 18th. Later that summer, their showdown at the Open Championship at Turnberry became one of the greatest battles in golf history. After 3 rounds, both were 3 shots ahead of the field, setting the stage for a legendary final day. They matched each other shot for shot, entering the 17th hole tied again. Watson birdied while Nicklaus missed, and on 18, Watson's approach shot landed 2 feet from the pin. Nicklaus, in the rough, somehow got his ball on the green and drained a 40-foot birdie putt. Watson calmly knocked in his short birdie putt to win, finishing with a record-breaking 12 under 268. The rest of the field wasn't even close. Third place was 10 strokes behind. Watson had a stellar 1978 season, winning 5 times, but he suffered 2 major heartbreaks. At the Masters, he needed a par on the final hole to force a playoff with Gary Player, but he missed a 10-foot putt. Later that summer, at the PGA Championship, he entered the final round with a 5-shot lead, but lost in a 3-man playoff to John Mahaffey. That tournament was as close as Watson ever got to winning the PGA Championship, the one major that would elude him. The next few years cemented Watson's place among the greats. In 1980, he dominated the Open Championship at Muirfield with a brilliant third-round 64 and won by 4 strokes. He was the PGA Tour's leading money winner for the 4th straight year, racking up 6 victories. The following year, he won his 2nd Masters title, beating Nicklaus and Johnny Miller by 2 strokes. But perhaps his most famous moment came at the 1982 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. Locked in a duel with Nicklaus once again, Watson found himself in trouble on the 17th hole. His tee shot landed in the thick rough, leaving an impossible chip. But Watson, full of confidence, told his caddy, "I'm going to make it." He did exactly that. His chip shot hit the flagstick and dropped in for a miraculous birdie. He birdied the 18th as well, sealing his first and only U.S. Open title. A month later, he won the Open Championship at Royal Troon, becoming only the 3rd golfer since World War II, after Ben Hogan and Lee Trevino, to win the U.S. Open and the Open Championship in the same year. Tiger Woods would later join that list in 2000. Watson's last major championship came at the 1983 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. It was his 5th Open title and the only one he won in England. His other 4 were in Scotland. The following year, he had another close call at the Open, trying to win 3 in a row. But a bogey on the famous road hole at St. Andrews opened the door for Seve Ballesteros, who took the victory. After 1984, Watson's dominance faded. He didn't win another PGA Tour event for 3 years, though he finally broke the drought at the 1987 Nabisco Championship. In the late 1980s and early 90s, he had several close calls, including near misses at the Masters and the U.S. Open. By the mid-1990s, his game rebounded, and he won the 1996 Memorial Tournament and his final PGA Tour title at the 1998 MasterCard Colonial at age 48. Watson transitioned to the Champions Tour in 1999, where he found success, winning 14 times, including 6 senior majors. But even in his 50s and 60s, he proved he could still compete with the younger generation. At the 2009 Open Championship at Turnberry, he nearly pulled off the impossible. At 59 years old, he led after 3 rounds and needed only a par on the final hole to win a record, tying 6th Open. But his approach shot ran just over the green, and he failed to save par. In the playoff, Stuart Sink pulled away, leaving Watson heartbroken. He later admitted that the loss tore his guts out, but he was moved by the overwhelming support he received from fans worldwide. Watson continued playing in majors for several more years, receiving exemptions due to his past success. In 2015 at St. Andrews, he made his final Open Championship appearance, walking over the Swilcan Bridge for one last time. The following year, he played his last Masters, acknowledging that he could no longer compete at the highest level. Even though he stepped away from competitive golf, Watson still made his mark. In 2018, at age 68, he won the Masters Par 3 contest, becoming the oldest winner in its history. And in 2019, he played his final event on British soil at the Senior Open Championship, closing the book on an incredible career. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Johnny Miller was no stranger to drama. He didn't hesitate to call players chokers and made wild comments about their looks, even saying they seemed more suited to cleaning pools than playing golf. He never held back. And if that wasn't enough, his over-the-top favoritism for certain players often left people completely stunned. Miller was never one to sugarcoat his thoughts, and during the 2008 U.S. Open, he stirred up plenty of controversy. One comment that really grabbed attention was about Rocco Mediate, where Miller suggested he looked like someone who would clean Tiger Woods' pool. It was a remark that many found insensitive and tone-deaf, with critics saying it played into stereotypes that had no place in the broadcast booth. But Miller didn't stop there. He had a habit of labeling players as chokers whenever they struggled under pressure. While some people appreciated his blunt honesty, others felt his words were unnecessarily harsh and disrespectful, especially considering the effort and skill it takes to compete at such a high level. For many players, golf is a game of inches and nerves, and Miller's sharp critiques could feel more like stabs than constructive commentary. To make things even more complicated, Miller had a clear soft spot for certain players, most notably Tiger Woods. His praise for Woods often bordered on over the top, while he didn't hesitate to tear into others for their mistakes. Fans couldn't help but notice this imbalance, with some accusing him of blatant favoritism. It created a feeling that Miller wasn't always giving everyone a fair shake, focusing instead on a select few while leaving others out in the cold. Miller got his start in professional golf early, joining the PGA Tour in 1969 at just 22 years old. By 1971, he had his first tour victory, setting the tone for a career full of ups, downs, and unforgettable moments. Over his career, he secured two major championship titles, the 1973 U.S. Open and the 1976 Open Championship. Both wins showcased his incredible ball-striking ability and his knack for performing on the biggest stages. The 1973 U.S. Open at Oakmont is perhaps Miller's crowning achievement and one of the most famous performances in golf history. Heading into the tournament, Miller had been consistent with 8 top 10 finishes that year, including a tie for 6th at the Masters. But he had yet to win in 1973, and expectations weren't particularly high for him at Oakmont, a notoriously challenging course. Miller's start at Oakmont was steady, playing the first 2 rounds alongside Arnold Palmer and his massive army of fans. By the end of Friday, Miller was 2 under par, but a rough Saturday left him at 3 over, 6 shots behind the leaders. At that point, few thought he had a chance to win, but what happened on Sunday was nothing short of legendary. Starting the final round in 12th place, Miller teed off earlier than the leaders. Armed with a fresh game plan and his signature confidence, he went on to shoot an incredible 8 under par 63, the lowest round in major championship history at the time. He hit all 18 greens in regulation and birdied the first 4 holes to set the tone. His irons were laser accurate, with 10 approach shots landing within 10 feet of the hole. Even with a 3-putt bogey on the par 3 8th, he kept his focus and delivered a performance for the ages. When the dust settled, Miller had climbed past legends like Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Arnold Palmer to claim his first major championship. His record-breaking 63 remained the gold standard in majors until Brandon Grace shot a 62 at the Open in 2017. Miller didn't stop there. A month later, he tied for second at the Open Championship at Royal Troon, just 3 strokes behind Tom Weiskopf. This kicked off a streak of 5 consecutive top 10 finishes at the Open, proving he was one of the best in the game during the mid-1970s. The following year, 1974, was the pinnacle of Miller's career. He dominated the PGA Tour, winning 8 events and earning over $350,000 in prize money, a record at the time. His remarkable consistency and ability to go low made him the leading money winner that year, dethroning Jack Nicklaus. In 1975, Miller continued his hot streak, starting the season with 3 wins, including a 14-shot victory at the Phoenix Open and a 9-shot win at the Tucson Open. These performances highlighted his incredible precision with short irons. As Miller put it, "When I was at my peak, I felt like I could knock down the pin from anywhere." Miller's second major title came at the 1976 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. The course was playing firm and fast due to an intense heat wave in England, making it a tough challenge for players. But Miller rose to the occasion, shooting a final round 66 to win by 6 strokes over Nicklaus and a young Seve Ballesteros. His victory solidified his place as one of the game's greats. However, Miller's career took a turn in the late 1970s. Struggling with a condition often referred to as the yips, he went 3 years without a win. It was a challenging time for him, and he even considered stepping away from the sport. What kept him going was a verse from the Bible that inspired him. It's not what you accomplish in life, but what you overcome. He also credited Jack Nicklaus for being a supportive figure during this tough period. Miller eventually regained his form, winning the Jackie Gleason Inverary Classic in 1980, his first victory in nearly 4 years. In 1981, he had another standout season, winning multiple times and claiming the $1 Million Challenge in a dramatic playoff against Ballesteros. His success that year earned him a spot on the U.S. Ryder Cup team, which delivered one of the most dominant performances in the competition's history. After scaling back his playing schedule in the 1980s, Miller's final PGA Tour victory came at the 1994 AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. At 46 years old and semi-retired, it was a fitting farewell to competitive golf. By the end of his career, he had amassed 25 PGA Tour wins, 105 top 10 finishes, and a reputation as one of the best ball strikers the game has ever seen. Fred Couples once called him probably the best ball striker ever, and Nicklaus described him as the best short iron player ever. In 1990, Miller transitioned into broadcasting, becoming the lead golf analyst for NBC Sports. As a commentator, he brought the same directness and sharp eye that defined his playing style, but his honesty didn't always sit well with players. One infamous moment came during the 2008 U.S. Open when he described Rocco Mediate as looking like the guy who cleans Tiger Woods' pool. While Miller apologized for the comment, it highlighted his tendency to speak his mind, even if it ruffled feathers. Despite the occasional controversy, Miller's broadcasting career was widely respected. He offered unique insights into the game, often drawing on his own experiences as a major champion. Fans appreciated his candidness, and his partnership with Dan Hicks became a staple of NBC's golf coverage for nearly 3 decades. Miller retired from broadcasting in 2019, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most memorable voices in golf. Outside of golf, Miller has pursued various business ventures, including golf course design. He's been involved in creating or redesigning 34 courses, including the Thanksgiving Point Golf Course in Utah and Silverado Country Club in Napa, California. Silverado, which he purchased with a group of partners in 2010, now hosts a PGA Tour event, further cementing his influence on the sport. Whether you loved his straightforward analysis or found it too blunt, there's no denying Johnny Miller left a mark on the game. His unapologetic approach, coupled with his immense knowledge and achievements, made him one of a kind. Golf wouldn't be the same without him. What do you think of his legacy? Let us know in the comments. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. Gary Player, revered for his 9 major championships and dedication to golf, earned the nickname Black Knight. He was seen as an unassailable icon of fitness and discipline. However, as he nears 88, disturbing revelations are threatening his carefully crafted image. Accusations of cheating, controversial statements, and a questionable relationship with a repressive regime paint a more complex picture of the man. These revelations leave the golfing world questioning his true legacy. Gary Player, a South African golf legend, is an exceptional example of how far dedication and ambition can take you. His extraordinary journey from a young prodigy to a world-renowned icon has cemented his name in the history of golf. Gary Player, known as the Black Knight for his signature black attire, was a fierce competitor despite his small stature. His relentless pursuit of excellence led him to defy expectations and break records on prestigious golf courses around the world. Gary Player's illustrious career boasts an impressive 9 major championship victories, encompassing 3 Masters titles, 3 Open championships, and 2 PGA championships. His remarkable achievement of the career Grand Slam, a feat attained by only 5 golfers, distinguishes him as an exceptionally talented and consistently successful player. Gary Player's influence went beyond his personal achievements. He was a trailblazer in promoting fitness and health in golf. His commitment to physical training and healthy living transformed the approach to the game, inspiring generations of golfers to prioritize their physical well-being. Gary Player's influence extended far beyond the golf course. He became a global ambassador for the sport, traveling the world to compete and promote golf's values. His charisma and engaging personality made him a beloved figure, captivating fans with his infectious enthusiasm and inspiring stories. If you're enjoying this deep dive into golf's most fascinating figures, don't forget to subscribe. We've got plenty more stories and controversies coming your way. Gary Player was a model of golfing excellence and a symbol of the sport's global reach, but his image has been tarnished by controversies and revelations over the years. Despite having a remarkable career, Gary Player's reputation has been marred by persistent accusations of cheating, raising questions about his achievements and casting a shadow over his legacy. During the 1974 Open Championship at Royal Lytham in St. Anne's, Gary Player was embroiled in a controversy. As he prepared to chip onto the 17th green, a spectator noticed a divot that seemed out of place, suggesting that Player had improved his lie. This sparked accusations of cheating and a media frenzy. Player vehemently denied the allegations, claiming the divot was caused by a practice swing. The disputes surrounding Player continued. During a high-stakes skins game in 1983, Tom Watson, a fellow golfer, publicly accused Player of cheating by moving a leaf from behind his ball. The incident was witnessed by a reporter and escalated into a heated confrontation, with Player once again denying any wrongdoing. Whether they were true or not, these accusations damaged Player's reputation. Some people felt that the incidents confirmed their suspicions that Player was willing to cheat to his own advantage. Others believed that they were simply minor imperfections on an otherwise perfect career. The allegations of cheating, however, led to questions about the blurred line between gamesmanship and outright cheating in the sport of golf. This sparked a discussion about the spirit of the game and how important it is to maintain the game's integrity, even with the pressures of fierce competition. His unwavering self-belief and relentless pursuit of victory often fueled suspicions about Player. He was known for his meticulous attention to detail and fierce competitiveness, which sometimes led others to question his methods. The debate continues as to whether Player's actions were inappropriate, but the resulting uncertainty and accusations have cast a shadow over his accomplishments and damaged his reputation. Augusta National, the esteemed home of the Masters tournament, has recently been overshadowed by controversies surrounding Gary Player and his family. These controversies have tarnished their legacy and brought into question their respect for the tournament's hallowed traditions. During the 2021 Masters ceremonial tee shot, Wayne Player, son of Gary Player, caused controversy by prominently displaying a sleeve of Encore golf balls, which he represents, while Lee Elder, the first African-American to play in the Masters, was being honored. This act of self-promotion during a solemn tribute was widely criticized as disrespectful and inappropriate. Augusta National's decision to ban Wayne Player from future tournaments garnered mixed reactions. Some supported the club's decision, believing it upheld the traditions and protected the integrity of the ceremonial tee shot. Others, however, felt the punishment was too harsh and overshadowed the tribute to Lee Elder. At the 2020 Masters, Gary Player faced controversy for wearing a Gulf Saudi logo, an organization with close ties to the Saudi Arabian government. This action attracted significant criticism, as Saudi Arabia was under scrutiny for its human rights record at the time. Many perceived Player's display as an implicit endorsement of the Saudi regime and an attempt to exploit the Masters for political purposes. The Player family's actions have been interpreted as disrespectful towards the traditions and values of Augusta National. Their behavior, which has been seen as self-serving and opportunistic, has damaged the spirit of the Masters and lessened the reverence held for it within the golfing community. The incidents involving Gary Player and his son at Augusta National underscore the difficulties in balancing commercial interests with the upholding of sporting traditions. These events also highlight the challenges faced by iconic figures when it comes to navigating the complexities of modern sports, where personal gain and public image are often intertwined. Gary Player's strong self-confidence and relentless pursuit of success have sometimes been perceived as excessive self-promotion and a tendency towards controversial statements. His outspokenness has occasionally overshadowed his golfing accomplishments, creating an image of a man more focused on personal gain and publicity than on the true spirit of the game. Player has always been outspoken, even when his opinions are controversial. His remarks on the Augusta National Women's Amateur where he questioned the choice to honor Annika Sorenstam over a current player, were criticized as insensitive and out of touch. Additionally, some find players bragging about his achievements and fitness routine to be off-putting. His self-given titles, such as the most traveled athlete, and his constant reminders of his intense workouts have been seen by some as arrogant and self-centered. Some people admire players' confidence and unwavering self-belief, while others view his actions and statements as proof of his ego, insecurity, and a constant need for validation and recognition. Players' self-promotion and controversial statements have undeniably led to a complex and often contradictory image. Whether these are seen as harmless bravado or a sign of deeper flaws, they have sparked debate about the role of humility and sportsmanship in professional golf, leaving fans and critics to grapple with the complexities of his character. The legacy of Gary Player is marred by his controversial relationship with the apartheid regime in South Africa. Despite his personal claims of opposing racial segregation, his initial silence and perceived complicity have fueled debate and cast doubt on his stance. During the 1960s, Player aligned himself with the ruling National Party and its apartheid policies of racial segregation. He publicly supported apartheid and even defended the system in his book, Grand Slam Golf, contending that it was essential to preserve civilized values from alien barbarians. Player's statements, made during the peak of apartheid's brutality, were met with strong disapproval from anti-apartheid activists and negatively impacted his international reputation. His unwillingness to denounce the regime, even as it systematically oppressed millions of Black South Africans, raised questions about his morality. Player did not publicly disavow apartheid until the late 1980s, when it was crumbling under internal and external pressure. He stated that he regretted his earlier statements and that he had been brainwashed by the government. Player's alleged change of heart has been met with skepticism from critics who contend that his denouncement of apartheid was opportunistic, occurring only after the regime's political demise. Some critics go so far as to accuse him of hypocrisy, arguing that he benefited from the apartheid system, enjoying privileges and opportunities that were unavailable to Black South Africans. The challenges faced by those living under oppressive regimes are reflected in the complexities of Player's stance on apartheid. His narrative prompts us to consider the responsibility public figures have to speak out against injustice, even when there are personal consequences. It also emphasizes how political decisions can have a lasting impact on one's legacy. Stories like Player's illustrate that even our heroes are imperfect. Subscribe now to delve into the intricacies of the human experience, both in the realm of sports and beyond. Gary Player, the Black Knight, was a golfer whose triumphs and controversies continue to spark debate. His story is complex, raising questions about whether we can separate his actions from his achievements on the golf course. Do his missteps overshadow his remarkable career? Player's legacy is multifaceted and invites us to reflect on the man and the athlete.